Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good evening. Good afternoon. And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. We are living in, let's just be real. We are living in some really crazy, crazy times, and there is a whole lot that we need to get through and not a whole lot of time to do it, unfortunately. So I'm going to try to get through as much as I can in a very, very short amount of time. There's a lot going on, guys. A lot's been going on since this morning. I talked about a little bit of that in a pop-up video this morning. Make sure you check that out. We are going to be going into more of that interview here in just a little bit. There have been press conferences after press conferences after press conferences and interview after interview after interview going on in succession. It has been nuts, okay? I could have been on earlier today, and we would have been on for a full work day, if that makes any sense. Would have been on here for damn near eight hours, for crying out loud, because of the amount of stuff that's been popping off today. There's a lot of things that have been going on, a lot of speculations, a lot of questions, a lot of anger, a lot of heartbreak going on out here in these streets right now as we speak. So before we get into everything, I need you guys to do me a favor. Hit that like button down below, crush it, do it, hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you hit that follow button because I'm on all of them, all right? Even though TikTok I think it's on its way out. I think TikTok's gone, okay? I mean, in general, the platform. But that's another conversation in itself, all right? Hit that subscribe button here on my main channel right here on YouTube, please, and thank you. Subscribe. Go subscribe over to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips, and my third channel, Pascal Raw. Some stuff will be coming out there very soon, so make sure you're subscribed to all three of these channels. Hit that notification bell, set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it is random. All right? Please and thank you. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my my Patreon. It's in the ticker right there going across the screen. And of course, check out pascalmerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. pascalmerch.com. Okay, guys. Now we got all the red tape crap out of the way. All the necessities out of the way. How y'all been? How's everybody been? It's been 24 hours. Well, it's been well over 24 hours now since the passing of Alex Pretti, an unarmed man. Well, an armed but not used his weapon man. Let's just say that. All right, who lost his life at the hands of Border Patrol agents very early yesterday morning in the very, very cold city of Minneapolis. And it's not only just because it's weather. It's also because ice is out there. It's cold. And I'm not talking about frozen precipitation. I'm talking about ICE agents, Border Patrol agents, etc., that are out there. So I'm going to ask you guys, how y'all been? Before we get into the conversation, let me just ask you guys, how y'all feeling? Because right now, I feel that the majority should feel a little angry right now, should feel a little agitated, heartbroken, upset, angry, saddened. But there is what I find very interesting about this, because there's always this is normal. Okay, I feel like the internet is basically very, very MAGA. Like the internet streets is just very conservative for what it's worth. Damn near far right. If you ask me, that's just the world that we live in. I'm just one person, one opinion. That's out here, and a lot of times it can clash with a lot of the far right individuals out here, because I will tell you this, surprise, surprise, I am not far right, nor will I ever be far right. But it's interesting because, the internet is the internet. You know what I mean? It's not real. It's just the internet, right? And there are other people out here that see this situation, and I feel like they are feeling it. They feel this one differently than they felt with the Renee Nicole Good situation. Why, you may ask? Because in this particular situation, you can clearly see something bad happened here. And it wasn't because of the man who lost his life. It's not because of the victim. Yes, I'm calling Alex Pretti a victim. He is a victim in my personal opinion. It's because of the choices and the reaction and how they handled the situation, how ICE handled the situation. Border Patrol. I'm calling Border Patrol ICE, and ICE is Border Patrol. That's just what I think, okay? Finkel's Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. You know what I'm saying? But moving on, Ace Ventura, just an Ace Ventura reference. But anyway, moving on. You see the situation, and we've seen it in multiple angles at this point. People have slowed it down in these multiple angles and shown how this whole thing went down. This man was banged in the back of the head. Pretty much in the back of the head or in the back. Either way, what happened here is a travesty. It is a perfect example of how poorly trained these ICE agents really are. Remember, 47 days, guys. Now, the reason why I talked about how things have been, why I'm talking about the internet and how the internet's fairly far right and all that. I mean, that's just kind of how I feel. Okay, that's why you notice that there's a lot of conservative pundits out here, a lot of conservative content creators that are just raking in the dough because they're feeding to that particular echo chamber, and that echo chamber is vast. It's massive. All right. But one thing is for sure, this situation, I feel all of us should feel the same way. But like I said, the internet's still the internet, and the internet's going to do what it does best, which is there's always going to be an opposing view. There are always going to be naysayers that are always going to try to push back because they need it to fit the narrative of their own political bias, which is a big, huge problem because we live in a time where we should be leaning on what we see with our own two eyes. Yet we have an administration that's basically saying, hey, what you saw is not what you saw. Instead of them saying, hey, this guy was holding a phone, they go, oh, no. What you see right here, he's not holding a phone. He's brandishing a weapon. That's exactly what's going on. Don't tell us that he has, don't believe your eyes, because what you're seeing with your eyes is not true. He was actually brandishing a weapon. And he was out there to take out, as they said, assassinate. They used the A word. To take out these federal agents. This is exactly what they said. Now, I want to remind you guys this, before we dive into all of this stuff, okay? I mean, don't be surprised on how I feel about this situation because I'm looking at the facts. I'm looking at the video, but actually not video, plural videos that we've already looked at nauseum. In fact, there's more information that has come out that could show that, yeah, ICE really did make a huge mistake here and that they are in the wrong for what they did due to a misunderstanding from all the ICE agents that were pummeling this guy. They all jumped on him. We all saw the video. Sure, there was a heated exchange of words, but not once did this man pull out his weapon and brandish it to these ICE agents. Let me repeat this again. If he had his weapon right there in his hand, and he was brandishing it or pointing it towards an ICE agent, he would have been dead on the ground like that. He would have been gone in seconds. Look how quickly, as soon as they said he had a pew-pew, see how quickly they responded to that situation? They iced that man within seconds of them saying, gun, gun, gun. Did that not happen? And they emptied an entire clip, damn near emptied an entire clip into this man's already deceased body that was laying on that cold concrete on this very, very cold Minneapolis morning. But like I said, the internet will always push back and go, no, no, no. I stand with ICE. I will back ICE for what they did. They had every right to do what they said because they're listening and holding on to the powers that be, like the Gregory Bovinos and the Christy Gnomes. They will sit there and say as much as they can and lean on a fake narrative that they'll feed to the naysayers out here that literally have to hold on to that and suck on it like a pacifier so that they can go to bed knowing that there's no way that our government would ever lie to us. Oh, no, 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 no. They would never do that, except all of us that know the truth, that see the footage, that have watched what's going on. We know different. Hence the reason why we're so angry. Hence the reason why we're so shocked. Hence the reason why we're so heartbroken. Because not only did we have a man who lost his life and he was holding, yes, he had his own weapon, but he was exercising his own constitutional rights. They're now saying that if you show up with a weapon, you are now an agitator. Instantly, you're an agitator, which is weird because this is the same group that sit there and hoist on their shoulders those hardcore gun right advocates that are out there. So why would they say something like that? And again, same people that are out here saying, oh yeah, what happened here? I stand with ICE, because they're just they're eating the BS that, the higher ups, the administration is giving us. Those same people, they're real quiet now, aren't they? But they'll sit there and say, I stand with ICE. They'll sit there and say that this whole situation was justified when it clearly was not. Because like I said, they need to still look at themselves in the mirror. They still need to go to bed at night. So they'll listen to whatever the hell the BS is coming out of the administration's mouth and believe it. Literally, they could be peeing on us. And apparently these particular people will sit there and believe them if they're saying it's raining. That is a huge problem. That is a massive, massive problem. But like I said, that's just the world that I see, the internet that I see. The internet. We are now seeing those the people, the conservatives that we are used to listening to, that we see. Okay, whether you listen to them or not, they are out there and they are talking, and people are listening to them. You got news outlets that are mostly conservative. Now they're all coming back and saying, "Oh, wait a second, something ain't right here. Something strange. Something ain't right." They're telling us one thing, but these videos of what happened here are telling us something different. And no, mother lovers, this ain't AI. This is the truth. But they don't want us to hear the truth because apparently they think like Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men, right? We can't handle the truth. But unfortunately, we already know the truth. This is the reason why there's such an uptick in protesters. This is the reason why there's so much demonstrations. That's the reason why there are so many people upset, heartbroken, and angry right now, because we all saw the footage. And this man right here should not have lost his life in this way. Let's be real. You got 47-day individuals that only get a certain amount of training, 47 days, and they get thrust out into the streets with weapons and a whole lot of testosterone and whatever incel anger that they have in their bodies. And they are told to go protect this country. Yet at the same time, they do not use the training that they had because there wasn't enough. And what are we talking about? They don't know standard procedure. And next thing you know, a huge, tragic situation like this happens. And what do we get? We get them lying to us in real time. Why, you may ask? Let me tell you. Let me tell you, though. Let me tell you why. Okay? Let me tell you why. Because it's about that money. Oh, yeah. This all has to do with fundings, everybody. You really think that this whole thing is going down and they, for a fact that they have certain funds and et cetera are now that they're hoping that they're going to get? You got the left and right in the House literally trying to make a decision on budgets. They need more money because they want to bring more ICE agents into the forefront. Trump wants to build his own private army, so he needs the funds. But guess what? Democrats have been pushing back and have not been down for any of this at all. But now you have this tragic situation happening or happened, and this is putting a whole lot of dirt, smearing dirt all over ICE, smearing dirt all over Kristi Noem and Gregory Bovino. But what are they doing? They're trying to tell us, oh, no. These are not the drones that you are looking for. They're basically saying what we saw is absolutely BS, that we are out of our minds, that we are in the upside down. We're in a different universe. And what truly happened is something completely different. This all has to do with money, because if they don't get that money, they can't continue growing this ICE agency. They can't continue to have more boots on the ground for Trump's private army. I said it. So now we're seeing in real time the lies. Real time. And what's sad, like I said, there are people out here that are going to do everything they can. Even the ones that are just, 2A'ers and ICE all day, right? ICE, baby, FAFO. I'm proud to be an American, right? All of them. They're now pushing back and saying, yeah, what they said is true. He did brandish that. He shouldn't have brought a weapon to a protest. In fact, a riot. How's this a riot? How was that a riot? I saw no riot. There were no burning dumpsters, no burning houses, no burning cars, nobody breaking windows or doing graffiti of any kind. So where was that riot? Like I said, they're going to do everything they can to move the goalposts. In fact, they're trying to move the doggone field, baby. They're trying to shorten the end zones. That's what they're doing. They're pulling out the bulldozers and they're trying to cut that damn thing in half. And they're trying to move both goalposts, okay, and shorten the damn field so that end zone to end zone are smashed next to each other, which is impossible. But what's crazy is that there are people out here standing in the stadium watching, going, "Oh, just let them do what they're doing. That's right. Let them cut the field in half. Let them do their thing." Yeah, no. The game should be shorter anyway. The game should be shorter anyway. Let it happen. Just let them do what they're doing, because what they're doing is the truth. No, it's not. No, it's not, because even that when they say these things out loud, they keep moving things around. They can't give us a straight answer, and that's the problem. So welcome to the upside down, everybody. Because for those of us that have two pairs of eyes, or at least one good eye, can see what happened here is unjustified and absolutely tragic, and shows a perfect example of how terribly prepared these ICE agents, Border Patrol agents, truly are. I'm getting off my soapbox, but I had to say those things really quick. You cannot sit here and look at all the information that we have seen with our own two eyes and tell us anything different. But hey, we got the likes of Kristi Noem and, little H-Man himself right here, cosplayer of the SS, George, Gregory Bovino saying something completely different. He had a press conference earlier today. He's still standing 10 toes down on the information that he said. And what's crazy is now we're seeing more and more of them just trying to change the narrative. They're out here. See, what really grinds my gears, my cookies are been burned, okay? Cookies been burned at this point, guys. But what really blows my mind is that they're saying we need to get into an investigation. As soon as we get that done with that investigation, we'll come back to you with that answer. Yet they're coming out and saying that this man was a domestic terrorist. Yet they're still saying that he brandished a weapon. Yet they're still saying that he shouldn't have shown up. He was unhinged and he was trying to annihilate, assassinate these federal agents, etc. But then when they're being asked critical questions, what do they say? Same thing Kristi Noem said yesterday too. We're looking into it. As soon as we get done with that investigation, we'll come back to you. Why aren't they just coming out after they do an investigation first? Instead of saying what they said, a man, a loved one, a brother, a son, an American citizen, 37-year-old Alex Pretti. Why aren't they waiting to get all the information before they go out there and brand him, a domestic terrorist? Come on now. They're quick to be like, well, what happened is he brandished a weapon and then he lost his life. And this is clearly a perfect example of how all these protesters are domestic terrorists. But then when they ask specific questions, hey, looks like the weapon was out of his possession. And then there was more than just a few, several bangs. So can you explain that? They go, well, when we get done with our investigation, we'll come back to you. Huh? You should have already been done that investigation before you came out and started naming this man, defaming this man to the world. You got family members now reacting, saying, no, they straight murked our son. That is wild, by the way. Not every day do you hear statements like that. Statements coming out being like he was a good man. He was a peaceful guy. He was a loving individual. And they murked him unjustifiably. Not every day do you hear that. I mean, not every day that you hear that from white people. I'm sorry, guys. Not every day. And now you see it. It is fully happening in full display. My question is, when is this going to actually change? You know for a fact they're going to keep on making up excuses. Now there's a new theory, which could very well be what it is, okay? But now they're trying to, they're basically saying, oh, it's because of his weapon. It's his weapon that caused it all. I guess we'll see. But in actuality, he's not the one who pulled out that weapon now, did he? So let's get a look into this whole Gregory Bovino interview. We're not playing the whole doggone thing. Okay, I played a good portion of it this morning in my pop-up video. I highly recommend you guys go check it out when you get a chance. See, this is the thing. I want to make this up. I want to keep it a bean with y'all. Okay, when the administration does something great, I will acknowledge it. Okay. I will give it all the love and praise. I'll be like, all right, okay, administration, you do that administration-ish. Let's go, baby. But when they make an absolute mistake, and it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if this was red or blue. It doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat. If they make they are literally lying to us and covering things up in real time right in front of us, I'm calling it out. I have no allegiance to any side. I am me. I want to make that abundantly clear. Okay? Just because I don't like what they're doing here does not mean that I'm a hardcore leftist. If I give them love and acknowledge when they do something good, doesn't mean that I'm a hardcore right either. I go where the wind blows, where the wind carries me. And if this situation was different and they handled their situation properly, this would be a completely different show right now. Completely. But unfortunately, they have not dealt those cards. And if you don't see that this man lost his life in such a terrible way, I don't know what to tell you guys. You got one good eye at least. Rewatch those videos. Take the time to really look at them. Quit arguing within yourself because of your own personal views. Okay, if you are hardcore MAGA and you think that these guys can do no wrong, real talk, they're lying to us, guys. They're lying. They've been lying to us. They've been lying to us since Epstein files. In fact, where the hell are those Epstein files? That's what I'd like to know. They lie, deny, and deflect. And we've been seeing it countless times. And I would call out Biden if Biden was in office. I'd call out Obama if Obama was in office. I'd call out the Clintons if Clinton was in office. Doesn't matter. It just happens to be this administration with this department making massive mistakes in the last 17 days. 2 people have lost their lives and 1 person has been shot. That's in 17 days, guys. Just want to point that out. Don't be mad at me. Those are just facts. Let's continue. Let's take a look at this.
U.S. Border Patrol Commander-at-Large Greg Bovino, thank you for being here. Sir, you are still in Minneapolis, and I want to get to a lot of questions that we have that are unanswered. First and foremost is that Alex Pretti approached Border Patrol agents with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. I want to go back to one of the videos, and I know you can see it there, and I want to ask you about what you're seeing, because multiple angles of this incident show him holding up a cell phone and recording it, not a gun. Did he at any point pull out his weapon?
Dana, good morning, and thanks for having me. The weapon, and we do know that the suspect did bring a weapon, a loaded 9mm high-capacity handgun to a riot. We do know that. As far as what happened in that intervening moment with the video that you just showed, that's going to come to light through the investigation. That's being investigated, and those facts and those questions will be answered soon enough.
So he says, we're going to go when we get the investigation going. After the investigation, within the investigation gets investigated, then we'll tell you how the investigation went within that investigation. But yeah, he did show up with a heavily dangerous weapon at a riot. Ladies and gentlemen, be scared. Be very scared. That's the reason why he's been iced. Explain that really quick. So they say, yes, he did show up with the weapon. Congratulations. He had it holstered. It was in his side. It was in his waistband, concealed under a coat. So explain to me how the narrative that's been out here from not only yourself, sir, and also your DHS's mouthpiece, Tricia McLaughlin, okay, and the head of the Department of Homeland Security, Miss Kristi Noem, okay, the FAS of ICE, okay, you have those 3 things, those 3 individuals all saying that he was brandishing that mother-loving pew. But now you're sitting there going like, they're walking it back. You see the confusion? You see the kind of thing that they're doing? They're trying to create a blizzard. Get what I'm doing here? Because it's ice, okay? Because in ice and snow and the storms that are going on outside. Okay, so they're creating all this BS. They're creating a blizzard, trying to create confusion, so that Ma and Pa back at home are sitting there going, well, thank God they took him out. He would have done something real bad, I'll tell you what, with that sidearm, that very dangerous sidearm that he had. Thank you, baby Jesus, they took care of that. Don't you notice that? He's not acknowledging and confirming whether or not Alex brandished a weapon. Do you see what's going on here? Do you see what's going on? You see? It's happening in real time. And they got photos right next to his mother-loving face, his little ass face. He's smaller than the screen. Look how small he is. But anyway, he's there and literally photos are right there. And he's like, well, we're going to, ma'am, we're going to do what we need to do. But he was holding a very, very violent weapon with multiple rounds of bullets. Just so you know, everybody, that's the reason why he got murked. Justified. Can you see the BS? Because I see the BS. I don't know about you, but I see the BS. Okay, maybe you don't see the BS, but I see the BS big time. You know, because in the very beginning, let me tell you something. The long time ago, 24 hours ago. Let's go back in memory land. Okay, we're back in 24 hours ago when we were reporting about this, right? Well over 24 hours ago. Even myself, I said, hey, if he showed up, if Alex actually showed up with a pew-pew and he was like holding the pew-pew and he got murked, that's on him, bro. That's on him. I even said to myself, you don't show up to a protest like this, brandishing a weapon, because you're going to lose your life. It's the same thing if you walk out and you pull out the weapon and try to, brandish a weapon to 5-0, they're going to take you out, son. They're going to empty entire clips into your body, okay? That's true. That is facts, right? But then the story changed because we got to see other angles. We got to see what was going on, and that's when I was like, oh, my gosh. Sure, he had a weapon, but he never pulled it out. They pulled it out, and then he lost his life. This is on them, right? I even said that myself. But this is not, that narrative that they're trying to pull out here is not true. Now they're trying to make it seem like the weapon was dangerous. It was a dangerous weapon, everybody. Don't you see how dangerous this weapon was? It was dangerous. That's why this whole thing went down. No. Instead of actually acknowledging what we all see on screen and in these countless videos now, he did not brandish this weapon. He can't even answer the doggone question. That's the same thing that Kristi Noem did as well, just so you know.
Okay, but the Homeland Security Secretary is not waiting for that investigation to take place before saying that Alex Pretti was, quote, brandishing a weapon. Let's go to video 7, because, of course, you know this far better than I. The definition of brandishing is waving or flourishing something, especially a weapon, as a threat or an anger and excitement. That's just a still photo of what Alex Pretti appears to be holding. There is nothing that we have seen that showed him, as Secretary Noem said, brandishing a weapon. Have you, sir, seen something different to support what the secretary said?
Dan, I think what we need to take a look at here is the situation in its totality. What happened leading up to this situation?
Okay.
The suspect decided to inject himself into a law enforcement action. What's not being said here is the fact that Border Patrol agents and law enforcement were conducting a targeted law enforcement effort against a violent, illegal alien that was nearby, and that suspect injected himself into that law enforcement situation with a weapon.
His spit is trying to stop him from lying. Even his own spit is sitting here going, man, you out of pocket for this one, bro. We're just going to choke you up real quick. All right, let's be real. Okay. Now they're sitting there going, oh, no. Now what really happened is, see, what had happened was he was interfering on a targeted investigation or, detaining of a particular person. That's basically what it is, right? But what's interesting is that, how about everybody else that was blowing their whistles that were in the area? How about everybody else? There was plenty of people. There was a bunch of people in the area just filming, blowing their whistles, making, documenting the situation, showing ICE doing what they were doing. Okay. Here it is. regardless of him interfering or not, or regardless of him resisting arrest, because I know that's been the other argument as well. Okay? Let me just make this abundantly clear. That doesn't mean this man should be 6 feet underground. Sure, detain him. If he's if he's impeding on the arrest of an illegal, like, don't get me wrong. If there's a monster that you're trying to take and detain, by all means, detain them. Please take the criminals. Go ahead. Do what you need to do. But at the same time, this still does not justify the unaliving of Alex Pretti. So you can sit here all day long and say he was impeding on an investigation or whatever the hell the verbiage that they're saying right now. They are training these guys to say this crap, so it sounds like it fully makes sense. We had a very vicious guy that we were trying to take. Okay, I'm not downplaying that you were trying to take down a vicious guy. Fine. You do you, okay? Do you, boo-boo. But at the same time, this did not happen the way that he's trying to say that it went down, okay? You got an ICE agent or Border Patrol agent that got in his fee-fees. That's exactly what went down. Sure, you got a guy, you got Alex in the middle of the road filming everything, everything. But what else is new? What else is new? We see this every day. They should be used to this by now. But then this particular ICE agent right here goes up and starts shoving women, shoving these protesters. It doesn't matter the sex, it doesn't matter the gender, but they were shoving these agents, or these protesters. How did it all go down? Look at the video, guys. He waves a car to pass by. He's filming. Then the ICE agent comes over. He shoves a woman really, really hard. Then he walks over, then shoves another woman, then gets in his face, then sprays him with mace. The guy, Alex, is trying to pick up the woman in the white jacket that fell on the ground. He's just trying to help pick her up. And then suddenly all these ICE agents come out and be like, let's go get him. Hup, 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 hup. And then, of course, seconds later, he loses his life. Where was he impeding on an investigation or the detainment of a particular person? Again, if he really was impeding on that, they should have just arrested him, taken his weapon, and be done with it. But now he's dead. So now they're just using as many operative words as they can. They're giving us word salads. They're giving us BS to try to cover this whole thing up. I'm not gonna hold you guys on this whole thing. We're gonna play a little bit more, and then we're gonna move on.
And what happened between when that situation first came about and the shooting, that's going to be investigated, and we're going to get to the facts of that.
Well, you said yesterday that this looks like a situation where the individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. What evidence do you have that he wanted to massacre law enforcement? Because all the videos that we have, and we just have a still shot up now, but I do, control room, want to play one of the other videos. Let's play video number 1 again. It doesn't look anything like he's trying to massacre law enforcement. In fact, he was filming, and then it looked like he was trying to help another individual there who was pushed down by law enforcement, and then they went after him.
In fact, I believe that the fantastic training that our law enforcement partners have, the fact that they're highly trained, prevented any specific shootings of law enforcement. So good job for our law enforcement in taking him down before he was able to do that. And again, Dana, let's look at why.
Wow, son. Wow. See what I'm saying? He's sitting here going like, well, good on their amazing and proper training that they've received. This is not training, guys. This shows full lack of training, in my personal opinion. Okay? Lack.
He was there in the first place. Was he simply walking by and just happened to walk into a law enforcement situation and try to direct traffic and stand in the middle of the road and then assault, delay, and obstruct law enforcement? Or was he there for a reason? Did he fall victim to that violent and heated rhetoric by a Mayor Fry, a Governor Waltz. Look, Dana, they're trying to portray Border Patrol agents and ICE agents as Gestapo, Nazi, and many other words. Did this individual fall victim, as many others have, to that type of heated rhetoric?
I want to stay focused on this incident right now, because what you were saying is that he went there to try to stop this law enforcement operation. All of the video that we have seen shows him documenting it with his cell phone, which is a lawful thing to do. And the only time he seemed to interact with law enforcement is when they went after him when he was trying to help an individual who law enforcement pushed down. So where do you have the evidence to show that he was trying to impede that law enforcement operation?
Sure, Dana, first he was there in the scene. He was in the scene actively impeding and assaulting law enforcement to the point.
But that's not illegal. He wasn't Dana, impeding it. He was filming it, which is a legal thing to do in the United States of America.
Dana, let's don't freeze frame adjudicate this now. He was there for a reason, and that reason was to impede law enforcement to the point.
What evidence do you have of that?
And here's a good point, Dana, is the fact that de-escalation techniques were utilized during this action. Those de-escalation techniques.
You realize what he just said, right? He just said de-escalation tactics were utilized. Hold on.
Whether it was physically trying to remove them from that law enforcement scene, that active law enforcement scene in which law enforcement were going after a violent illegal alien, or the use of pepper spray, which is another de-escalation technique. Those techniques did not work. Officers always try to use the minimum amount of force necessary to either effect an arrest, which in this case was more than likely 18 U.S.C. 111, assault on a federal officer, or
where did he assault a federal officer in any of the video that you have seen?
Sorry, I got to pause this for a second, okay? Because I need us all to see this moment one mo again with our own two eyes. Where is he going in and attacking the officer or doing anything of that sort? Like, sure, he's talking smack, I'm sure, right? He's saying words, but and he's filming, but that's within his legal right. He's not breaking any laws right here. Let's just hold on. I'm going to lower the volume on here, but I want you guys to see this, okay? By the way, this is the girl he's going to shove, this ICE agent. The other person right here, if I'm correct, this is the woman. These are the two women that this ICE agent steps up to, and shoves really, really hard, just so you know. He waves traffic by.
Go.
But they're also filming. That's the reason why they're stopped. Look.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
So he shoved her really, really hard. So he caught her, right? Alex catches her. He's not doing anything. He's holding the phone and he's filming. Where is he going and losing his mind? Where is he going and being aggressive to 5-0? Hold on. Let's continue. Because he shoves the girl in the white or the gray jacket to the ground or into the snow mound. Okay, here he goes. He shoves her too, and he's like, wait a second. Mind you, he put his hands on the he put his hands on the agent, right? After the agent shoves the girl in the gray shirt, okay? Or the gray jacket. He does put his hands on the agent for a second as he turns to go to the woman on the ground to try to pick her up. And he's getting pepper sprayed at the same time, right? He's like kind of like doing this, like stop, like stop shoving her, right? Brah! He gets shot in the face with the pepper spray. So he turns over, and as he's trying to pick her up, while he's got pepper spray in his eyes, trying to help her up, and then all hell breaks loose. He's not doing anything except trying to pick her up.
The fuck, people?
Then they grab him.
What is wrong with you? Honestly.
They go after the dude. I got to stop it right there. We all seen this video. He is losing balance. He is trying to help her up while he is trying to catch his own balance. The ICE agents are trying to rip him from the girl because suddenly now he's just had enough and he's wanting to take it out on somebody. He's not going to take it out on these two females that Alex is trying to help out. So he's like, oh, I'm just going to go after the dude. So he goes after the guy. Where in this video, before he loses his life, which, by the way, point blank range, they say gun, 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 and then point blank range, dude in the right here. Let me just blow this up so you guys can see. This man right here, this guy right here, pulls out his weapon and blasts him from here. He only had to do one shot. He got hit once and he was done. Once and he was done. There are close-ups, slow-mo of this whole thing. You see it in full view, in 4K. Well, not 4K, but you get what I'm saying. You can't ignore it. What happened to this man is not just, but you got Greg Bovino and the powers that be all telling us something different. He's saying he was an agitator and that he put his hands on the police, on these agents, and that he was impeding on this whole thing. He was holding a camera. He was holding a phone. The agent that got out of this car right here looks like he got in his feelings about what these ladies were saying to him. So then he ran up to the girl in the black and brown jacket and pushed her hard. She collided into Alex, and he got sucked into this whole chaotic situation. Real talk. So again, miss me with the BS. I'm going to play a little bit more. We got to move on.
Because it looked to us from every angle, sir, that he was approached by them when he was helping another individual who was pushed down.
Thank you.
What evidence do you have that he was assaulting any law enforcement?
Dana, we don't need a suspect's help in an active law enforcement scene.
When you say suspect, what is
we
he
didn't ask
suspected
his
of?
help. That's an active.
So what do you see? But that's the thing. What help? The girl got shoved into him. He was trying to help her out. Then the other girl got shoved on the ground. He was being a good man. He was being a gentleman. What the hell is this? He shouldn't be impeding, inserting himself in a situation like this. What? You got two women that were being shoved by an ICE agent. He was being a man. He was being a good man. And he stepped up, trying to pick them up, trying to hold them from falling into the icy ground. What is this? Like I said, they sit there and they're trying to change the lens. They're trying to villainize this guy, right? They're victim blaming in real time, guys. Like I said, if this situation was different, if he had the weapon out and he was doing all this other stuff, I would be like, yo, he was out of pocket for that one, y'all. Yeah, that's why he's gone. Shoot, that's straight facts, son. That's why he pulled out that weapon and shoot, played stupid games, win stupid prizes. You know what I mean? I would say that all day long, but that's not what the video shows. It doesn't, guys. We all have brains. And if we have an IQ above room temperature, we can all see that what happened here is not right, but they're trying to play with our brains. They're gaslighting us. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Hey, there it is. Gaslighting. Perfect example of gaslighting. I finally said it one time. Look at that. Yeah, gaslighting is the operative word for today.
Law enforcement scene, he knew that was an active law enforcement scene, especially when the officers approached him, and it's very evident he did not need to be where he was. And he
when somebody
on his own to stay there.
So when somebody is pushed down and a person's instinct is to help that person, when somebody's pushed down by law enforcement, you're saying that you just stand back and let law enforcement do what they're doing? I mean, is that really human nature?
You know, Dana, every situation is different. What our officers are faced with here in Minneapolis are chaotic, very difficult and violent situations in which individuals, and this suspect is not the only one to bring a loaded weapon to a riot. The situations are chaotic and ever changing. Follow directions for law enforcement. Don't inject yourself knowingly beforehand into a law enforcement situation.
With respect, it feels as though in some ways you're blaming the victim here.
There it is.
The victims are the Border Patrol agents. I'm not blaming the Border Patrol agents. The victim are the Border Patrol agents. The suspect put himself in that situation. The victims are the Border Patrol agents there.
Ay, Chihuahua. See what I'm saying? Yeah, FFS, okay? Double FS for sake. What in the hell is going on with this situation? And you got to remember, you got the administration, even Trump himself saying, you know, they neutralized a very bad person. I got to tell you, he was a domestic terrorist. That's what he was. I got to tell you. One of the worst of the likes you've never seen before. He's also sitting here saying that this guy was a domestic terrorist. What kind of world are we living in where somebody said it is George Orwell, 1984. Somebody got the quote, put it in the chat. Okay. What the hell's that quote? That should be like plastered on the freaking wall at this point. Okay. The fact that they are literally saying this is not what you saw at all, even though that's exactly what we saw, is terrifying. This could very well be a foreshadowing of what could happen, of what could come very, very soon in other cities. Oh, by the way, he did say something else, which is absolutely insane. Which, by the way, okay, let me just go back to the CNN thing here. I'm not going to play anymore, but I'm just going to show this to you guys here, just so you can see it on the side. I want you to peep game on this really quick, okay? So the guys that were involved in this tragic situation, the demise of Alex Pretti, an innocent man, in my personal opinion, guess where those agents are? They've been deployed to other cities. Oh, no. I just want to make that abundantly clear because he does say that in this interview, and I can't be on this for too long. Unfortunately, I have a very condensed show for you guys today. I would play the whole thing, but we ain't got time for that today. He literally said that those guys that are involved in the unaliving of Alex Pretti have been deployed and moved to other cities. That's not a joke, y'all. They are still out there in the streets taking people, potentially taking people's lives. So the guy who actually pulled the trigger and emptied an entire, damn near a whole magazine into Alex Pretti, oh yeah, he ain't on administrative leave or anything of that sort. He out there. He's just been deployed somewhere else. He's in another city now. So they're not even doing what they did for Jonathan Ross, which is like pack him up and move him to, I don't know, Tahiti or some, small town somewhere in Utah. Nope. Those guys are still working somewhere else. He says it in the interview. He says it in this interview. So I just want to make that abundantly clear. Here's the other thing. Like, literally, there's like segments that have been cut out. And one of them is like, did Pretti brandish the gun before he was actually shot? Let me tell you something. This is the moment, like, I wish he was on my show. I wish this mother love was on my show, because I'd just be like, why are you effing lying? Why are you lying, bro? Why are you lying to the general public? You are straight up lying to all of us in real time. Why? Like, appreciate Dana Bash. She did her thing. I get it. Some people be like, boo, CNN. But at the same time, let's be real. Let's be real. She should have just said straight up, you guys are lying. Why are you lying? These are the moments when you need like a Cuomo or shoot, even a Piers Morgan. All right. That is just going to be like, absolutely, sir. I think you are absolutely full of it, sir. I think you're lying to us, sir. Why are you lying, sir? Why are you lying to the world right now, sir? You are straight up lying to all of us right now. That's what I need. I need them to be called out for the BS that they are doing. But we got to move on. Even so, Kristi Noem is still out here. Oh, man. She's still trying to do her thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I get it. See, with that face, it's a very expensive face. So she's trying to get every dollar out of that face. So she's trying to be all up in these cameras, getting all these interviews and whatnot. But now she was dodging crucial questions about what happened to Alex Pretti. If he actually was disarmed before Border Patrol went braca on the guy, right? Ain't that interesting, right? She's still going. It's see what had happened was we go and investigate within that investigation. After the investigation, we'll tell you what happened within that investigation, and that investigation still investigating on the investigators because we have investigators on the investigation. So once that investigation is done by investigators, we'll let you know what happens within that investigation. Does that make sense? That's the BS that we're hearing all the time. But now she's saying something, Now she's just trying to walk around this. And you can't beat around this burning bush. You just can't. You can't beat around this bush because this mother love is on fire, okay? That redheaded stepson you had decided to take that Roman candle out, went to a very dry bushel and went boof. And that whole thing's on fire. Yeah. ICE agents are the redheaded stepchild, just so you know. But moving on, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the interview because it's right here. Oh, yeah. Even Fox, of all people, sitting here going, well, doesn't seem like she's telling the truth. That's what's going on right now. Why did I sound like Mickey Mouse? Ha-ha. Kristi Noem is not telling us the truth. Ha-ha. That's what's going on here. They're trying their best to walk around this and say, we're working on the investigation. Damn it. And guess what? Even their own outlets that are like, MAGA till they die are even saying, well, I don't know about this one. They out of pocket with this one, though. Damn.
We are now joined exclusively by the Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem. Secretary, really busy 24 hours for you. Thank you very much for being here. People are waking up and they are wondering two things. Am I going to lose power from the storm? And what the heck happened with the Border Patrol agents shooting this guy in Minneapolis? We will get to that. But first, with this storm, what are the folks here at FEMA's Nerve Center telling you about how things have played out overnight?
Well, this is the National Response Coordination Center.
I'm going to pause right there because we're going to skip ahead to the meat and potatoes, to the stuff that we are actually here for. Because it been snowed. Okay, there's a whole lot of snow outside. Okay, just so you know, it going to melt. And if it stays cold, it's going to turn into ice. And we ain't talking about the bad ice that could just take your life because you're out there protesting. Okay, guys, I'm talking about that ice that you could just slip on and break your back. Okay, maybe throw out your hip. All right, so please be careful out there. All right, wear warm clothes, stay indoors until this stuff goes away and until these roads are fully plowed. Okay, because ice be ice and weather be weathering and snow be snowing out here. Okay, so let's move on.
In Minnesota about that. Tim Walz, Jacob Frey.
No, they haven't expressed any concern for injuries to our officers. And that's been going on for weeks. These are not just agitators anymore. They're violent protests. In fact, the state and the city of Minneapolis abandoned this area in downtown Minneapolis because they couldn't control the situation by the amount of people that have come in just trying to disrupt and impede law enforcement operations. And, frankly, this didn't turn violent until we uncovered the fraud in Minneapolis. We were there, ICE and CBP have been there and operating for years in Minneapolis. We saw the violence start to happen when the fraud became uncovered of the billions of dollars that was stolen from American taxpayers under the leadership of Governor Walz and Mayor Frey.
President Trump is saying, this is a part of a Truth Social, the mayor and the governor are inciting insurrection with their pompous, dangerous, and arrogant rhetoric. How close is President Trump to invoking the Insurrection Act?
It's going to happen tomorrow. That's what I truly think. Insurrection Act will happen at some point this coming week. If it continues to go the way it's going right now, the protesters are protesting. There's a lot of craziness that's going on in the Minneapolis streets right now. I think he wants to use invoke the Insurrection Act really, really bad. Now that you have another person that lost their life, there's going to be more and more anger out there. And the fact that they straight up lied to the American people even more, you don't think that there's going to be more protests and protesters out here, even after the lies that have been debunked in real time? I'm just saying, like, they were debunked. Those lies were debunked before they even lied. You see what I'm saying? So again, this is just nuts.
President Trump just wants to keep people safe, and he's applying the law and wanting to go out there and go after not just terrorists that we know were led into this country by the Biden administration, also dangerous criminals that, especially in Minneapolis, what we've been targeting is sexual predators, people who've been trafficking children. That's what this operation has been focused on, getting illegal people in this country that have been involved in that criminal activity. And then when the fraud was uncovered as well, we saw a resistance in Minneapolis like we haven't seen anywhere else in this country. In fact, encouraged by the governor at press conferences to go out and take to the streets and to resist law enforcement. It really is irresponsibility that we haven't seen out of someone in any other state.
So Insurrection Act on the table?
It's up to the president. He has the constitutional right to do that. He certainly has considered it. We've had discussions. We'll see what the best choice is to make sure that law and order is followed, but also that we're keeping people safe.
And it is early, we know, in this investigation into the shooting death of Alex Pretti. But I want to have you walk our audience through what exactly you know. So you said last night, it looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement. Did he say, I'm going to kill you, or did he leave a note? How do you know that was his intent?
Part of this investigation.
How would did he leave a note before he was bracad? What? But okay, I mean, it makes sense, if he was like, F you. But here's the thing. The video that he was filming, the video that he was capturing on his own phone would tell us a story. Would it not? Would it not? But here's the thing. I guarantee you, they deleted that video. I wouldn't be surprised if that video has already been deleted. There's a full-on cover-up going on. Even the girl that was filming the video that we just saw of him losing his life in that angle on the other side of the road, right? There was a girl wearing a pink coat. She's speaking out and saying she is fearful for her life because they're trying to hunt her down right now. They're trying to find her because she's one of the closest people that they have, that was a witness to the whole situation, that has not caught her yet. They have not gotten her yet. They got some other witnesses that were there. They arrested them quickly, but she's hiding out, scared for her life right now. And I don't blame her for being scared right now. That's crazy, right? So you're seeing a cover-up happening in real time. And it all has to do with money. Not only is it money, I mean, let's be real, it's also the optics here too, but it has to do with the money too. This is screwing up their plans for getting more budget, a thicker, better budget for their ICE agents so that they can expand and do more and keep breaking laws and not wear these body cams and whatnot, right? But now, guaranteed you guys, we have 5 days. Today's the 25th. On the 30th of January, there will be a government shutdown. Get ready for it. There will be a government shutdown only unless the people on the right agree with what's going on with the Democrats and with what the Democrats are saying, basically saying that these guys need a much shorter leash. They need a much shorter leash. That's what needs to be agreed upon, and the budget needs to be tailored perfectly so that there's more control over these ICE agents. Both sides need to agree on that. Both of them. Okay.
We'll be hearing from those agents and officers and people on the ground. But we do know that he came to that scene and impeded a law enforcement operation, which is against federal law. It's a felony. When he did that, interacting with those agents, when they tried to get him to disengage, he became aggressive and resisted them throughout that process.
Did you see any of that? Did you see him aggressive and resisting what they were doing to him or to the other two people that he was trying to help out, like trying to get them off the ground and stuff?
officers used their training, followed their protocols,
No,
and
they did
were
not.
in fear of their lives and the people
Dear
around
Lord.
them. And that's how this tragedy unfolded, and we hope we never see it again. It grieves me to think about what his family is going through, but it also grieves me what's happening to these law enforcement officers every day out on the streets with the violence that they face.
Let's see. The violence that they face every single day has been brought upon them because they are bringing in that kind of violence. Okay. It would be different if things were approached a little bit differently out here, but this is not what's going on. There is blunt force going on out here in these streets. That's all it is. This is not a situation where they're going for targeted situations. This is all just one big bull in a china shop type thing. You see what I'm saying? This is not what she says it is. That's the problem here. And that it grieves her that the family is grieving and all that. But she's also somebody who's naming this guy. She is also naming this guy a domestic terrorist. Come on.
Because you mentioned the family, they have a statement out now where they say they're angry and that Alex was just trying to protect a woman who was pushed down by ice and pepper spray.
2 women.
But they also talked to the Associated Press and they said, we had this discussion with him 2 weeks ago or so, go ahead and protest, but do not engage, do not do anything stupid, basically. So what is your message this morning to Alex Pretti's parents?
Just that I'm grieved for them. I truly am. I can't even imagine losing a child. And I can't imagine a tragic situation. We can't have individuals that are impeding law enforcement operations and then showing up with guns and weapons and no ID and confronting law enforcement like that. Is one of the reasons that we see situations like this unfold. I think everybody can learn from this situation. I'm grateful for law enforcement that put their lives on the line every day to go out there on the streets and try to bring criminals to justice and protect the public. And we'll continue to make sure the right thing is done, this investigation is completed, and that we continue to go forward and we enforce the law and apply it equally to everybody in the country.
What is the line? Where does it go from peaceful protest?
You realize that it's all trained crap that she is saying right now. It is all stuff that probably some PR agent, that they've hired, or that talking, that mouthpiece of theirs, Trisha McLaughlin has basically trained her to basically say, this is what you need to be saying. And she's just saying things by rote. Okay. And I hope this woman is having a really good cry. If she can even cry, I don't even know if that face can cry anymore, but I hope she has a good cry. Okay. Real talk, because she's saying things that is absolute BS. Okay. My shattered dreams and broken heart. Like, she needs to just literally, I hope she is looking in herself in the mirror, in the bathroom, and just bawling, because how dare she say any of this stuff that's coming out of her mouth right now about this guy. I agree with the family. This was a good man. This man should not have lost his life the way that he did.
I have a First Amendment right to do that, to I'm going to get arrested protesting, to I'm going to get shot to death.
We have clearly from the very beginning followed the exact same process and protocols that have been implemented this entire administration and that the previous administration followed and has gone on in law enforcement interactions for years. You cannot impede a law enforcement investigation and operation. When an officer tells you to back off and gives you orders, you should comply and explain. You shouldn't show up with weapons then no ID and no indication of how they're going to be used. And that aggressive interaction, laying hands on law enforcement officers, clearly is a crime, and it is something that should not be acceptable.
Like I said, what she did, she repeats the same crap over and over again. He had a weapon. He didn't have his ID, so that means he was up to no good. And he was there, and he put his hands on the officers, on these agents. Okay. Did he though? He got pepper sprayed. He was trying to help somebody get picked up off the ground. Where? She's just saying the same crap, right? Deadly weapon. He had a deadly weapon and no ID, and he put his hands on these people. Don't you see that? What the hell is going on here? What? It's the same repeated crap. She's not giving any answers. She is just reading off a script that she's just memorized by rote. Okay, that the team has basically told her you need to say these things. You know for a fact she knows she's lying right now. She got a lot of issues right now going on. And let me tell you something too. All right, they're trying to push for the impeachment of Kristi Noem. Are you really that surprised?
Because you mentioned the protocol, there is an angle of the video that we've been playing all morning where it shows an officer removing a weapon either from Alex Pretti's waistband or a holster. And he walks away with the weapon before officers start shooting. It appears that Alex Pretti was disarmed. If he was disarmed, is it the protocol to use deadly force?
No.
That's all part of this investigation. Every video.
See, this is all part of the investigation. So they can't give us a straight answer. Yet they're saying that what they did was justified before they do a proper investigation. Are you guys awake? Are you guys awake? Are you hearing what I'm saying here? Do you hear what they're also saying? They're going, oh, yeah, he was an absolute domestic terrorist. What he did was him losing his life was absolutely justified. And then when they start asking simple but very smart and obvious questions, what do? They walk it back and they go, well, that's what we're waiting for the investigation to clear up and to confirm. So once our investigators do their investigation, we can come back and let you know how the investigators, what they found within that investigation. Okay, that's some BS, guys. This is her literally beating around the very inflamed dumpster fire of a burning bush. Stop with the nonsense.
Video will be analyzed. Everything will be looked at. And that's part of the answers that I can't speak to every single thing that those officers thought, but this happened in seconds. They clearly feared for their lives and took action to defend themselves and the people around them. If you watch that and you listen to those videos, you can hear someone yelling, gun, gun, gun. And those agents and officers reacted to that. So
yeah, that was way after. I mean, they said they mentioned gun, gun, gun. Okay, the weapon was gone, had already left the area, and then braca. Okay, like we all seen it. We all seen it. We all saw the interaction. We all saw the tussle stop.
As this investigation goes forward, all of that will be analyzed.
There are a lot of stories this morning.
After the investigation, then they could tell us what actually went down. But first and foremost, everybody, American people, don't worry. ICE is your best friend. And what happened here is a travesty. Yes, indeed. But Alex Pretti was a domestic terrorist. That's exactly what it is. But we can't tell you anything further until we do an investigation. But what we do know, knee-jerk reaction, without doing our due process, our due diligence, he's a domestic terrorist. That's what it is. That's all. He's a domestic terrorist. That's exactly what it is. Sorry, guys. There it is. But we still need to do the investigation on what actually happened before the first weapon or second, third, whatever weapons went off before he was shot. We still need to do our proper due diligence on that. But after just seeing nothing, we're just going to say that he's a domestic terrorist. That's what we're going to do. Okay? But we can't answer anything else until we do a proper investigation. Do you see how dumb that is? Do you realize how dumb that is? It's like being accused of doing something, but they don't have any proof of you doing it. But they're like, but you're going to steal something. You're a thief. Michael, you're a thief. What are you talking about? How am I a thief? Don't you worry. I'm doing my investigation. As soon as I get done, I'm proving that you're a thief. I don't have any proof of that, though. Not yet, though. But you are a thief. Wait for it. I'm coming for you. What? How am I a thief if I haven't even done anything that was within the land of thievery? What are you talking about? That's exactly what's going on here. Oh, he was a domestic terrorist. How do you know he was a domestic terrorist? Well, we still need to do the investigation, and then we could tell you that he's a domestic terrorist even more. But he is a domestic terrorist. Yeah. Department of Homeland Security, everybody. Department of Homeland Security.
Experts are saying the gun that he had, the Sig Sauer P329 millimeter, has a reputation, according to multiple lawsuits, of accidental discharges. Have you been briefed about the possibility that an ICE or a Border Patrol officer accidentally discharged this gun?
I know the investigation's ongoing, and they'll continue to do that. I don't conduct that investigation within the agency, and outside agencies will continue to do that, and we'll get the facts.
No, that's interesting because they told us, from what I understand, DHS is going to be doing their own internal investigation, not FBI. So if it is going to be an external department that's going to be doing their own due diligence investigation in this situation, that would be interesting. But here's the other thing too. If the weapon did go off accidentally, which there are videos out here showing that it could very well be what it is, like this particular weapon has a history of just going off by itself, right? If that is the case, that's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. But that still does not change the fact that these guys just lit this man up with no proof of him actually holding a weapon at all. He did not have a weapon in his possession. The weapon was walking away from his body with a Border Patrol agent holding onto that weapon. Now, if that weapon went off, then that's crazy. That's crazy as it went off as he's walking away. That's terrible, right? That's terrible. But suddenly these guys lit him up like it was the 4th of July. Does that justify any of that? No. But she's like, oh, we're going to be, that's another department that does that investigation, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So then, okay. Let's find out what's true and what's not before you come out here tripling, quadrupling down on him being a domestic terrorist.
Separate from the specific investigation, we know that Alex Pretti, according to officials in Minnesota, was legally a concealed carry permit holder. He had his gun legally. Is your message to people who are concealed carry permits that if they're going to go to a protest, they should leave their gun in the car?
You know, my message to individuals is don't go impede law enforcement operations. That's not legal. You're breaking the law when you do that. It's also breaking the law to concealed carry in Minnesota without an ID on you, and you shouldn't be.
See what she did there? She just said, oh, just so you know, he didn't have his ID on him, so therefore he was breaking the law. Don't you know that? So see how much of a thug he was? He still had the right to conceal and carry. He had that right. And who's to say that he had his ID on him? We're only taking their word for it. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're taking their word for it, which we're not, but we're supposed to take their word with the fact that he was brandishing his weapon before he lost his life. That's also the BS that they're telling us. So how much of this is actually true? Oh, let's find another tiny little caveat. Oh, here's a caveat. He didn't have his ID. Do you see how thuggish, ruggish bound he is? Don't you see he a thug? Showing up with a gun to a riot. He a thug. You don't see that? Come on, y'all. Come on now, y'all. Miss me with the BS. Miss me with this nonsense.
Laying hands on law enforcement and getting in their faces and trying to stop them from conducting their work. All of that is part of protocol, but it also is the law. And when people are in violation for the law, there's consequences for that.
Last night, our reporter in Minneapolis, Steve Harrigan, was out there monitoring everything that happened afterwards. And he said that there were a bunch of protesters in matching shiny yellow vests who basically took over the crime scene and they were directing traffic. It's very, very organized. Have you guys figured out yet who is organizing these protesters? Who is paying for them to be there, to stay out in the cold for something like a matching outfit?
Well, Peter,
Here it is. Listen, if there are paid protesters that are going on, that are out there, then it is what it is. That still does not change the fact that what's going on here is a full-on cover-up. Like, there's this whole theory, and of course this is coming from Fox News. So what else is new that they're going to be coming out here saying, oh yeah, don't you see, these guys are paid individuals. Well, if that's actually the truth, then show me the Carfax. Just because there's boxes of clothes or shirts or whatever out there, or they're organized with yellow traffic vests and whatnot, doesn't automatically mean that they're paid to do this. What if they just all are part of some group chat and they're like, F it, I'll invest some money into some this, that, and the third for this protest. That's still possible. There's plenty of people out here that go buy a whole bunch of gas masks, a bunch of them in surplus, and then hand them out to people at the freaking protests free. They're like, hey man, you're here for the same cause. Here you go, brother. Here's a gas mask. You want one? I got 20 of them. Here you go. People do that for real. That actually happens. Does it always have to be that these guys are paid to do this ish? How about this? If they are paid to do this ish, how about stop murking people in the middle of the streets? And maybe the protests and the demonstrations would subside. Just a thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop with the whole, focus on what's going on, what the problem is right now. Okay. And there's a massive problem going on in these streets. ICE is going out there and they're lying to the people. So what else is new? What do you think that how people are going to react? They're going to react in a very visceral and violent way. And we still got tonight too. Okay. We still got tonight too. All right. But let me continue on. Now, what's interesting, actually, I'm gonna let her say what she got to say about this, the paid protesters. Okay. But for me, I'm like, okay, if there are paid protesters, shoot, fine. There's theories about the J6ers getting paid to do that stuff too. So I just sit there and go, where's the facts? Where's the proof? Just me personally. Okay. But this is what I mean by they'll try to create whatever narrative they can to make everybody, these protesters, etc., look like they're just these evil individuals. And that's not the case, in my personal opinion. Yes, there are agitators out there for sure. But those that are out there that are demonstrating and just demonstrating peacefully, they seem to overlook those people all the time, for sure. Now, T just put out a comment and I lost it because the comments are flowing, which I appreciate all the comments. Please do me a favor before this show is over. Make sure you hit that like button down below. Crush it. Hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. Crush it, crush it, crush it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Subscribe, okay? But I got one more thing I want to share with you guys. Like I said, a very short show, okay? Trying to get it as much as I can in, as best as I can. And I'll probably have to come back and do another live with you guys a little bit later on this evening because it don't stop, okay? This train is not stopping. But one thing I do want to share with you guys. First off, again, don't forget to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, please, and thank you. Remember the girl who was wearing the pink jacket? Let me tell you what happened to her, right? So apparently she is telling her story and she's scared for her life right now. So the woman who filmed the clearest footage of a protester, losing his life, Alex Pretti, all right, has filed a harrowing account of what she saw. So we already know about what happened to Alex Pretti. They're saying that he was hit up to 10 different times, Like I said, almost a whole magazine, almost a whole clip was emptied into his body. All right. So, of course, there's been a lot of footage, and this particular footage was somebody did a close up of it and then slowed it down and everything, which is absolutely insane. Right. So she became this woman who was filming this whole thing, this very up close footage. She was only a few feet away. She provided damning evidence of the questionable nature of what actually happened. She became known as the Pink Coat Lady after her bright outfit that was visible from across the street in other videos of this actual tragedy. Other protesters became concerned about her as a key witness, and some witnesses said she was briefly detained by federal agents for questioning. The woman wrote a sworn affidavit detailing what she saw as evidence in an ongoing lawsuit by the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, against the Trump administration. Her name was redacted, but she identified herself as a children's entertainer specializing in face painting with the Whittier neighborhood of Minneapolis. So this is her right here in a pink jacket. Okay. Moving on. She explained that she heard whistles outside her home. She got ready for work. As she was getting ready for work at 8:50 a.m. on Saturday, indicating ICE agents were nearby. I decided to check it out on my way to work. I've been involved in observing in my community because it is so important to document what ICE is doing to my neighbors. The woman wrote that she saw Pretti with his phone in his hand, filming ICE agents when one of the agents pushed another protester to the ground. Then he started pepper spraying all three of them directly in the face and all over. The man with the phone, Alex Pretti, put his hands above his head, and the agent sprayed him again and pushed him. She wrote that Pretti tried to help the woman up, but the ICE agents just kept spraying so much that she could feel the pepper spray in her own eyes. That's when it all went badly wrong. Now we've all seen these stills, or we've all seen the video, but look, he's not fighting them. He was trying to help that woman up, and then he was getting dragged by that particular ICE agent because that ICE agent got in his fee-fees. Let's be real. Okay? Moving on. The weapon is in his side piece, like on his waistband. He did not pull out that weapon at all. He had a phone in his mother-loving hand, guys, because he was filming that. The agents pulled the man to the ground. I didn't see him touch any of them. He wasn't even turned toward them. It didn't look like he was trying to resist, just trying to help the woman up. I didn't see him with a gun. They threw him to the ground. 4 or 5 agents had him on the ground, and they just started pew-pewing him, okay? They pulled the trigger on him so many times. I don't know why they shot him. He was only helping. I was 5 feet from him, and they just pulled the trigger on him. Got to use these code words as best as I can. The woman insisted the DHS account was of what supposedly happened, that Pretti threatened agents with the weapon that he had on his side, was completely wrong, which is clearly what we all saw. They lied. The man did not approach the agents with a gun. He approached them with a camera. He was just trying to help a woman get up, and they took him to the ground, she wrote. Moving on. We all seen the footage. We all know the truth. The woman wrote that she went into hiding because she was afraid she would be arrested for filming the shooting. I feel afraid. Only hours have passed since they shot the man right in front of me, and I don't feel like I can go home because I heard agents were looking for me. What in the what? I don't know what the agents will do when they find me. I don't know that. I do know that they're not telling the truth about what happened. I've heard that other witnesses might have been arrested. Yes, and that's true. And taken to the Whipple building. Yes, they have. There were, as soon as this whole thing went down, there was a lot of people that approached and were like, what the F? And a lot of these people were arrested in real time. As soon as that man lost his life, last breath he took, there were people getting pinned to the ground and getting detained right then and there. And they were trying to grab they were trying to get as many cameras and phones or whatever they can get at the same time. Anybody that was filming, they were trying to take them down. Anybody that they knew had a phone out, they were trying to approach them and try to get them down. You see what I'm saying? But it was too late. They already did their thing. So I don't know what the agents will do with me. I do know that they're not telling the truth about what happened. I've heard that other witnesses might have been arrested, which we already know. I am disgusted and gutted at how they are treating my neighbors and my state. The woman's footage shows Pretti being pepper sprayed, forced to his knees. We already know about everything else. Okay, but now you got a woman, the woman in the pink shirt, not hiding in plain sight, but straight up hiding because she's scared for her life, worried that she's going to get found, and worried about what they could possibly do to her. Let's be real. if they're willing to take a man out the way that they did and then go out there to the general public and say that Alex Pretti was brandishing a gun, that's the reason why he lost his life, so on and so forth, I don't blame her for being scared. I really don't blame her for being terrified right now, and rightfully so, because it's only, they did it to her. I mean, they did it to him. Who's to say that they can't put out a lie about anybody else? Okay, real talk. Real quick though, there's something else before we go into the super chats. Like I said, I'm trying to squeeze all this in as quickly as I can. I know Obama made a statement about what happened here, which is pretty crazy because you got former President Barack Obama, okay, and his wife Michelle both wrote a statement about what happened here. And I do want to share this with you guys because, again, this is pretty scary, pretty wild stuff. When you got the former president stepping forward and speaking out about what happened here, that tells you something, guys. That really, really does. That really tells you something. So let's take a look at this. This is nuts. All right. So let's take a look at this. So, a statement by President Obama and Mrs. Obama, and this was put up today. So, the unaliving, the killing of Alex Pretti, is a heartbreaking tragedy. It should also be a wake-up call to every American, regardless of party, to many of our core values, that many of our core values as a nation are increasingly under assault. Federal law enforcement and immigration agents have a tough job. That's true. They do. But Americans expect them to carry out their duties in a lawful, accountable way and to work with, rather than against, state and local officials to ensure public safety. That's not what we're seeing in Minnesota. In fact, we're seeing the opposite. For weeks now, people across the country have been rightly outraged by the spectacle of masked ICE recruits and other federal agents acting with impunity and engaging in tactics that seem designed to intimidate, harass, provoke, and endanger the residents of a major American city. These unprecedented tactics, which even the former top lawyer of the Department of Homeland Security in the first Trump administration has characterized as embarrassing, lawless, and cruel, have now resulted in the fatal shootings of 2 U.S. citizens. And yet, rather than trying to impose some semblance of discipline and accountability over the agents they've deployed, the president and current administration officials seem eager to escalate the situation, with offering public explanations for the shootings of Mr. Pretti and Renee Good that aren't informed by any serious investigation, and that appear to be directly contradicted by video evidence. Okay, this has to stop. I would hope that after this most recent tragedy, administration officials will reconsider their approach and start finding ways to work constructively with Governor Walz and Mayor Frey, as well as state and local police, to avert more chaos and achieve legitimate law enforcement goals. In the meantime, every American should support and draw inspiration from the wave of peaceful protests in Minneapolis and other parts of the country. They are a timely reminder that ultimately it's up to us as citizens to speak out against injustice, protect our basic freedoms, and to hold our government accountable. Now, he said what he said, or they said what they said. Yeah, we don't live in that time. We don't live in that time anymore. We live in a completely different time now. Like I've said before, we live in the upside down. We really, really do. And here's the thing. I do appreciate the Obamas speaking out. It doesn't matter what you think. Okay. I would say the same thing if it was Biden or the Clintons or anything of that sort. Okay. I do appreciate them saying something about what happened here. But the fact that they have to say something tells you something about how our country is doing right now. A former president is making an official statement to the world about what just happened yesterday. This is a statement. This statement right here, I hate to say it, but this is the kind of statement that we should be hearing from the Trump administration, from Trump in general. But that's not what we're getting. We got, he's a domestic terrorist. He's this, that, and the third. He did what he did and he got what he deserved. FAFO, that kind of thing. You got the other members of the administration saying basically the same thing, going, hey, he was a monster, but we're still doing investigations. We'll let you know we'll let you know more once we get the investigation done. But he was a domestic terrorist, just so you know. That makes no sense. It's wrong. It's wrong. And is a bad, very bad representation of the country that we are currently living in right now. This is the reason why we're seeing everything on fire. This is the reason why we're seeing people so angry and so volatile. And here's the thing. We're only in 1 year. We've only gotten through 1 year so far. Excuse me. We've only gotten through 1 year so far. And we got 3 more. I don't want to see another J6. I don't. But I have a feeling that we might see another one very, very soon. Because there are people out here that are absolutely brainwashed. But I'm hoping that by us talking and exposing the truth and exposing, showing proof, showing facts, that people will slowly start to see the other side just a little bit. Like I said, I don't need everybody to agree with everything I say. That's just the world that we live in, okay? We all have opinions. We all have our bias. We all have the way that we want the world to work, okay? But in actuality, there's a lot of brainwashed individuals out here in this world that are very excited and very happy about what happened yesterday. This is not how people should be treated. It shouldn't. One more thing. Cash Patel, just got to share this, and I'm going to go into the super chats. Cash Patel even now saying, okay, he's like, hey, Americans can't bring loaded firearms to protests. Really now? Tell that to the far right 2A'ers out there that are showing up to events with AR-15s. Tell that to the people that say that Kyle Rittenhouse is a mother-loving patriot, man. Remember the people that were sitting there that were saying they will die on this hill? They will die on this hill about Kyle Rittenhouse. Remember that? Remember that whole trial? And when he was, when he was exonerated, he was found not guilty, and he was sitting there, a sobbing, snotty mess. More than half of the world was just raising their fist, going, "Yeah!" Right? Right? So it's okay then, but it's not okay now. Like I said, are we in opposite day? Let's take a listen to this.
Shooting this month of an American citizen in Minneapolis at the hands of a federal agent. ABC Justice and Homeland Security reporter Luke Barr joins me now with the latest. Luke, Cash Patel appeared on Fox News Sunday today saying Americans cannot bring loaded firearms to protests. What else did he have to say?
Yeah, he did, and we do have some sound of that. Let's take a listen to what the director said first here, Ike.
Yeah, let's get straight to it.
But as Secretary Noem said, no one who wants to be peaceful shows up at a protest with a firearm that is loaded with 2 full magazines. That is not a peaceful protest, and you do not get to touch law enforcement. You do that anywhere, this FBI is going to be leading the charge to arrest those.
So it has gone all the way down to Cash Patel's chambers, everybody. Like I said, listen to the BS. Now he's gotten in. He's saying no. Now it's a new rule. Now it's a new rule. The cool guy in the White House, the coolest guy in high school, said what he said. He's now saying, hey, no, we're not okay with that 2A stuff. No. No. If they're MAGA, they can walk around strapped, suited, and booted. They're totally fine. But those who are out there that are protesting against ICE, trying to stop us from doing what we're doing, and they're not doing anything except having the weapon with them. Oh, no. Now they're domestic terrorists. No, you can't be bringing in and exercising your constitutional right at a protest. Hell to the no. Are you out your damn mind? But if you MAGA, you go ahead, baby. Go ahead. Woo, that's a nice little AR-15. Look at you. It's all painted and painted like the American flag. Where did you get that? Did you do that yourself, or you got it custom? Woo, that's lovely. Make America great again. But if it's somebody else who's anti-ICE or anti-MAGA against it, now they're domestic terrorists. Yeah, jaded. You know what I'm saying? This is nuts.
Yeah, Ike, and he also said that, quote, you cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest. He said it's that simple. You don't have that right to break the law and incite violence. And he also confirmed in that Fox hit that the Department of Homeland Security is actually leading this investigation with an assist from the FBI. That he said that the FBI is in possession of the firearm and they're running tests. But so far, it's a DHS investigation, Ike.
So we have the FBI.
Yeah, so lovely, right? Hold on.
And the DHS saying that you cannot bring loaded firearms to protests. So how are Second Amendment advocates responding to that?
Well, on X and other social media posts, there is some concern about that statement. But on the record, the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus said in a statement, quote, they are deeply concerned about the shooting that occurred yesterday and are hoping that an investigation plays out fully to see what happens. They say, quote, every peaceable Minnesotan has the right to keep and bear arms, including while attending protests, acting as observers, or exercising their First Amendment rights. These rights do not disappear when someone is lawfully armed, and they must be respected and protected at all times. Like,
now, let me just say this. You realize that there are people on the right that are looking at this situation and are saying, wow, this is jacked up. What happened to Alex Pretti is wrong. What they're saying out here now, which is, oh, these guys can't exercise their Second Amendment, their constitutional right to bear arms. Oh, that's wrong too now. They're all going, I'm sure Republicans are now going, wait, what? Hold up. No. Wait, whoa. If it applies for them, it applies. If 2A is okay for Republicans, it's got to be okay for the rest of America too. It can't just be for people who are just sucking Trump's ass. You know what I'm saying? It can't just be all hardcore MAGA people and the rest can't. That doesn't make any sense. They can, but they can't. Constitution's for all Americans. So I'm still waiting, okay? I'm still waiting on what Republicans are going to say about that. Because Cash Patel, saying what he said here is completely wrong. In fact, all of them are saying it. It's Noam, it's Bovino, and Patel. They're all saying the same crap. And then what's crazy is that you got certain corners of the internet basically saying the same thing. Yeah, you can't be bringing a weapon to a protest, but they're the same mother lovers that will show up to an event or a protest of their own with weapons as well. So make that make sense, guys. Make that make sense. Oh, and by the way, I'm still on hold with the NRA. Yeah, I'm still waiting for the NRA to say something, but don't worry, I'll hold. I'll hold. No problem. I'll hold. Yeah. But yeah, guys, this is absolutely nuts. Kyle Rittenhouse, he's a savior. He's the second coming of Christ, for crying out loud, for 2A'ers. Okay, for the Second Amendment. But when somebody else who did not brandish his weapon has it on him, and it's on the opposite side of the MAGA narrative, suddenly he's a domestic terrorist and that they're not allowed to show up with weapons at protests. That makes no sense, guys. Either it's okay or it's not for everyone. That's it. That's it, guys. What a load of baloney, guys. What kind of malarkey have we been listening to as of late? And we're seeing this all happen in real time, everybody. Real mother loving time. Let's get into these super chats. So, Jen, thank you so much for the love. Extortion. Bondi issued a letter to, yes, she did. I forgot to mention that too. Sorry, guys. I had to condense this show. I promise there'll be a much longer show in the very near future, okay? But, with the time that I got very little. I may be back on in a few hours to cover more stuff. If there's protests going on tonight, I may be on to cover that as well. So sit tight. But that's interesting that she ordered it. She issued a letter to the governor of Minnesota, basically saying, "Yeah, we'll withdraw ICE agents if you show us your like voter registrations." Like what? What in the hell is that? So in other words, they're just trying to take control over these particular states. So what is this? Was that the plan? Is that the plan here? Real talk. Is that the plan? Come on. Are they going to be doing this to other blue states, other blue cities, etc.? Something to think about. Neon, thank you so much for the love. ICE and CBP have denied access to state and federal investigators for both. Yep, for both shootings. Yes, they did. Ain't that crazy? So now the local PD or local departments that are wanting to do a proper investigation in the situation, they can't even do that right now. They're being blocked once again because they're hiding this ish, because they need the monies and they need ICE to look pristine. And in this situation and in Renee Nicole Good's loss of life, that whole situation, they're trying to cover things up, which they should not be doing. They should not be doing that, guys. Ali, thank you so much for the love. A German publication called out his cosplay. Yes, I saw that too. When they call it out, everyone should pay attention. Yup. Because Gregory Bovino, I guess that's Italian. Is that Italian? I'm assuming that's Italian. Andiamo Bovino. My tiny, possibly Italian man there. Yeah, he needs to stop cosplaying because it's scary. It's scary. And it's a foreshadowing, guys. That's all it is. Okay. Nicole, thank you so much for being a member for the past 5 months. I appreciate it. Welcome to the family. Minderella, thank you so much. Angel, welcome to the family. What is this? Caitlin, welcome to the family as well. Okay. Thank you so much for the support. Welcome to the family, every single last one of y'all. Yeah, but honestly, we have been covering and talking about some really, really tough subject matters as of late, especially with everything that's going on in Minneapolis. I hope this stuff starts to slow down, starts to subside. We start getting justice for people that deserve the justice. You see what I'm saying? And all that. But you know, like I said, there's just, we're living in some crazy times, guys. We're living in some crazy times. I wish we were talking about other things, but unfortunately, this is what's going on in the world, and we need to talk about those things, you know? Robert, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Caitlin, thank you. Convenient that now Noam is concerned with the CTs. Yeah. But that's the thing. That's the stuff that they'll throw out to the American people, because to the mom and pops that are home, that aren't the content creators, that aren't the, you know, the yous and me's that are busy doing their, you know what I mean? They're living their lives. They don't do the social media like that or anything of that sort, right? They're just busy, you know, making their money and just, you know, being hardworking Americans. That's the kind of stuff that they're trying to throw to them. And there's a lot of people out there that will just listen to the sparkly shiny object. You know, they'll see the sparkly shiny object, which is these trigger words like CTing, right? Oh, he didn't have an ID on him, which is against the law if you have if you are concealing and carrying a weapon. You see what I'm saying? They'll use these code words and these trigger words to go, oh, shiny object, instead of looking at what's really going on here. Like I say, it's the Kansas City shuffle. They make us look right while they go left. They'll go, look over here, shiny object. And then they go, you know, they tiptoe over here. And with our money too sometimes. Well, actually a lot of times, right? So again, Kansas City shuffle. This whole thing's a red herring. This whole thing's a fugazi, and we're seeing it in real time. And if we are smart, which I believe all of us are in this chat, all y'all brilliant, okay? And beautiful, by the way. I believe that we can cut through and see through the BS. Hence the reason why all of you guys are in here reacting in the way that you are, because you know that they're feeding us a whole bunch of BS. It's horse-ish, to be really honest, okay? But moving on. MB7, thank you so much for the love. MB7, thank you. I appreciate it. Alex was protecting a woman when this country has continued to take our rights away. Yep. A woman's voice will never be silenced. Alex and Renee, R.I.P. Yes. May they rest in peace. May they absolutely rest in peace. But you're right. He was trying to protect two women, to be honest. Okay. One woman was shoved. He kind of caught her and he's like, trying to stop her from slipping or falling. Then he went over to the other girl that fell on the ground. That's when he got pepper sprayed. So he was trying to help two women out. Okay. It's bad. And he lost his life being a gentleman, being a good man, actually being a good human. Doesn't even matter about gender. It doesn't. He was being a good human. Real talk. Okay. Because I feel like he would have done the same thing. I mean, I don't know him. Okay. But I feel like he would have done the same thing if it was two men that were being shoved in that kind of way. You know what I'm saying? I think the same reaction would have applied if the genders changed. I think he just cared and wanted to help. And he was passionate. And those people that were on his side as well were passionate as well. And they did not deserve they did not deserve ICE putting their hands on them at all, in my personal opinion. Reed, thank you so much for being a member for the past 35 months. Thank you. Is very angry at ICE and all lying and unaliving innocent people. Sorry. And unaliving innocent people. This needs to stop. I think you're saying I'm very angry at ICE and all the lying and unaliving innocent people. I think that's what you're trying to say. This needs to stop. Yes, I agree. But here's the thing. Remember, I said this like last week. I was like, I just hope this doesn't get worse. I hope it doesn't, things don't escalate to more situations. But I have a feeling we're gonna have more. We're gonna have more. We have two people that lost their lives. We have another person that was shot as well. They say it's because he attacked an ICE agent while trying to escape. He got shot in the leg because he was attacking them with a shovel, allegedly. I wonder if that's even true. I'm sorry, guys. Now we're in that situation. They lied to us here. You mean to tell us that they aren't telling that they are telling us the truth about what happened just about a week or two ago in Minneapolis? Shoot, that they are telling us the truth about what happened earlier this week in Compton. Remember that shooting that happened? Remember there was a rumor that they were ambushed, but in actuality, that guy did not have a weapon on him at all. Remember that one in Compton? So I'm just saying. I worry, guys. I worry. Hey, lady, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Charlie Kirk, ICE, Epstein, Israel, the lies. Yeah, y'all. Wow. Charlie Kirk, ICE, Epstein, Israel, all the lies. Nah. We didn't start the fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I feel. Like, now we're there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where we're at now. That's where we're at. That's where we're at, y'all. Ain't that about to shut your mouth? Okay. Again, they're going to shut down. Let me just tell you guys this real quick. Okay. I'll probably be back in a couple hours because there's a lot to discuss. There's so much that happened today, and I haven't got not even the tip of the iceberg of this mug. But I do want to make this abundantly clear. There will be another shutdown. Brace for it. Get ready for it. Here's the other thing too. Do not ever leave out your mind the possibility of Trump using the American people against the Democrats again. Let me just say that again. Don't ever leave out your mind that we aren't going to see another repeat of what we saw in November, aka federal funding being stricken from the American people. families and children starving, not getting the government funding that they need at schools, etc. I'm telling you right now, if they can't find a middle ground with all this stuff, at least with the funding for ICE, which is now the main focus right now, you're hearing Chuck Schumer and others saying, hail to the no, we ain't signing nothing, no funding for them at all until they get their ducks in a row. That is going to cause a shutdown again. How long will that shutdown happen for? I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, brace for it. Get ready for it now, because Trump will use the American people against the side that is not giving him what he wants. He will sit there and go, well, we'll just make the people starve, and we'll make the Democrats feel bad, or anyone else that's not okay with it. Even the Republicans that are siding with the Democrats, because there are a few that are siding with the Democrats right now because they don't like what ICE is doing right now. And they're like, no, they're unhinged. There needs to be body cameras on these guys. There needs to be less free reign for these guys. These guys should not be free range chicken. Okay? They should be caged up, harnessed, put leashes on, and watched very closely. There are people out here, not only just the Democrats, but Republicans that are agreeing on that as well. But there will be a mass amount of Republicans that are scared about MAGA and what MAGA will do if they step up against MAGA. And so they're going to side with MAGA. There's going to be a shutdown, guys. Like I said, it's like a earthquake is coming or a tidal wave is coming. I'm telling you right now, 5 days in advance, there will be a shutdown. Okay? There will be. Don't know how long it will be for, but Trump will use the American people to try to get what he wants. That's exactly what he did in November. Remember, kids there was no food, there was no funding, no SNAP benefits, etc. He's going to do the same damn thing all over again. So get ready for it, guys. It's not right, but it's the truth. So get ready for it, guys. 5 days to get your stuff in order. 5. And we'll see how long that government shutdown lasts for. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. I got to go. Sorry, guys. We got a lot to talk about, and we'll talk about that more here very, very soon. But please, before you get going, please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it to do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms, please, and thank you. Okay, if you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you hit that follow button, okay? Follow. Make sure you subscribe here on my YouTube channel. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips, and my third channel, Pascal Raw. Subscribe to those channels as well, okay? Hit that notification bell on all those platforms so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it is random. Please and thank you. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell on those platforms. Hit that join button down below right here. Become a member. Support the channel if you can. That'd be greatly appreciated. Hit that join button or check out my Patreon, all right? And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Check it out. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. Have a safe rest of your night if I don't see you. I may be back on in a few hours. We'll see, okay? But until then, be safe out there. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another and stay warm if you're in these cold areas, all right? This is The Pascal Show. Bye.